Hey, sports fans, Larry Eder, RunBlogRun, your favorite program, Socialing the Distance. Today we're featuring the 2018 World Indoor Champion, World Indoor Silver Medalist in the 800 meters. We were there. We got to interview him, I think almost first. It was kind of a fun, crazy day. Drew Windle. Drew, great to see you, man.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me on.
Now, where are you right now? Are you in Eugene? Are you in Seattle? Or
I'm in Seattle for basically the first time this year. I've been in Albuquerque, Boulder, Los Angeles, and this is like my third week of 2021 in Seattle. So
cool.
doesn't really feel like home, but it's good to be settling back into a routine here.
Sure. Now, you've had 3 races outdoor season. March 6th, you did a 148.65. May 15th, a 148.55. And then this last weekend at the Portland Track Festival, you ran 147.11. Thought you looked pretty darn good. How do you feel you're coming along right now?
Yeah, I mean, things are going as good as they have been since I medaled, really. It was a rough couple of years. The 147.11 was my fastest time since I think July of 2018. So
cool.
Going the right direction. The first 2 races, there's 7 or 8 weeks between the 2 of them. So it's kind of like 2 rust busters. Just together too many opportunities to race this year, but I feel like I'm progressing at a typical rate. I would have liked to have snuck one more race in there probably before trials, but I'll just do the old Nick Simmons method of season besting and each round on the way to the final. So
it works. How's the body? Everything feeling good?
Yeah, everything is behaving normally. Legs feel good. Workouts are going really well. It was a rough stretch there between 18 and throughout 2020, really. But I'm probably coming up on 400 days without an unplanned day off. So I'm over a year of being healthy, and that's kind of my number one indicator for success.
The pandemic's affected us all in different ways. When did you know it was for real?
Probably shortly after all the shutdowns happened. We had just finished U.S. indoors. A few of us went to Boston to race, and then we came back. We met as a team for about a week, and then we had a team meeting, and that was the last time I saw some of my teammates for 6 months. So probably that meeting when I was when we decided as a team that we weren't meeting any longer is okay, well, if we can't even meet as a team, it's going to be hard to meet for races and Olympic trials and whatnot. So that's where it kind of set in. And luckily in my situation, I'm roommates with Brandon Kidder and Henry Wynn, so 2 of my teammates. So we were able to, at least as a house, kind of train together throughout everything and had each other to lean on. Brandon ended up getting a knee surgery, and we each we went home early in the pandemic to visit family, which was nice. But aside from that, we were able to do a lot of stuff together, which made it a lot easier than what most people had.
Okay. When did you start training together as a group again?
We did a few of the Portland Track put on a few meets last summer. And by the time they had announced that they were going to have those meets together, our team was kind of just all over the place. We had a lot of people who were injured, not necessarily injured, but just went ahead and did some things to help heal their body and taking advantage of the fact that there was not much racing. So it was basically me, Henry, Josh Kerr, Nia Akins, Carissa, Nelson. I don't think I'm missing anybody, but basically like the five of us just sort of each week jumping in somebody's car and going down to Portland and racing. So that's when we started meeting, I guess, technically as a team. Like it was probably a month before that. So let's say June, maybe probably July. July was when we started meeting as a team, but it was basically just the five of us, and then Danny and our trainer Sarah was there. But then our first like official team function was the first week in October when everybody was back in town and it was more acceptable to meet together as a group and train.
What is there a workout that you do, whether you like it or dislike it, that tells you you're ready to race?
There's a few. The most popular one that I'd say almost every 800 meter runner has ever done is 3x4, 3x400 with 4 minutes rest. I actually haven't done that one this year though. But the one that I have been doing, 6 weeks ago, I did 150, so 150 meters with 4 minutes rest, a 200 with 5 minutes rest, a 150 with 6 minutes rest, 300 with 7 minutes rest, and then one more 150. So I did that workout 6 weeks ago, and then I did it again on Friday last week. So 6 weeks ago puts me like just out in front of my second race of the season. And then, so it's a good, I guess like benchmark, just kind of compare where I was at 6 weeks ago and where I was last week. Just see where things are progressing. And the moneymaker reps on that workout are the 2, the 3, and the final 150, and all three of those were faster than I did 6 weeks ago. So
great.
And it also lines up. I did that workout in 2017, about the same amount of time out from the U.S. championships then. And in some ways this workout was better, in some ways it was a little worse, but basically it's a toss up, I guess. But I figure it puts me in about 145 shape. So definitely a good spot to be in going into trials. And then hopefully just a little magic in the final round can put myself on the team.
The men's 800 in the U.S. is goes from being kind of mediocre to being like, oh my gosh, there's all these guys at 144, 145. This time around, it's kind of a combo mix. There's a bunch of people 146. There's, a few at 145 or below. What's the key to getting through the rounds and making the team?
Yeah, getting through the rounds is just, for me, managing energy expenditure during the race. And for me, I think that looks like trying to run like I don't like running 800s and rounds that have these big finishing 24, 25 second final 200s. I think Danny might disagree with me, but I feel like that's a good way to like just zap your legs with those big fast finishes. So, I want to be going into the final. I want to have been in 2 races that were somewhat honest through the first 400, and just like a good strong close and feeling like I have a little bit left.
Okay.
And the nice thing about my position is I've been here before, and I know I've navigated through the rounds before, and I have good experience and successful experience doing it. And as long as I can keep my head on and execute my race plan and display the fitness that I've been cultivating for the last 5 years, I think I'll have myself in a good position to be top three. And people make mistakes. It's a super high pressure situation, and like when I made the team in 2017, my plan was just to be the last person with a bullet in the chamber, and I was, and it was enough to finish third. So same idea, just like don't let the moment consume me, and just be ready, just be prepared, and have a good plan, and just execute it how I've been envisioning it for ever since I wanted to be an Olympian. So envisioning that race and executing it.
In 2018, when we interviewed you after the 800, during that 7 minutes, they pulled you out of the race, put you back in the race. I don't know if there was another time, but it was just craziness. And I never got to really ask you then, were you able to like follow it in real time? Did you take it in, or did Danny just say, hey man, just let USATF do what they're supposed to do and you stay away?
Yeah, so I actually I didn't even realize I was disqualified until about 45 minutes, an hour after the race had finished.
Wow.
Nobody from USATF, nobody from World Athletics, none of the officials, nobody had informed me.
Wow.
But I was just sitting up in the ceremony room or whatever they called it, and just watching events that I knew were scheduled after me, walking up onto the podium, getting their medals, leaving. The meet finishes, we're still not up there. And is actually Elliot Giles, who was fourth. He ended up coming upstairs because he had been upgraded to bronze. So he was preparing to receive the bronze medal. And he was the first one who informed me that I was disqualified.
Wow.
So, yeah, I honestly, I didn't really know what was going on. Luckily, like, I think the official who was monitoring who was going in and out of that area was pretty good at reading my body language. You could see that I was not in the best mood ever. And they allowed my girlfriend Chantel to come in and like sit with me and try to calm me down a little bit. But the whole experience is definitely just exhausting. Yeah. I mean, to go from the extreme high of medaling at a world championship to having that taken away from you, and you start to think of all the implications beyond just that day of what that could mean, in terms of like, I'm grateful to have had a Brooks contract my entire career as a pro, but like, being a silver medalist unlocks a different pay grade for you that being a Division II national champion did. So like there's, a lot of things like that going through my mind. And luckily, but by the time I had gotten reinstated and was officially the silver medalist, I was just like drained. I don't remember what time it was when we did our interview in 18 together, but I had to kind of game up and try to refine the same energy that I had. I was just relieved, but it was definitely emotionally taxing.
Yeah, no, it's just it's some of those things that people don't get. It's tough enough for you to get yourself to compete at that level. And when you were at the World Championships, what was the first impression you had when you were in the stadium and you saw all the people?
In 17 or in 18? 17. Yeah. London. I will be forever grateful that my first world championship was in London. I don't know if there's not a whole lot of places that could be a whole lot cooler to experience a world championship. And yeah, they are huge fans of track and field over there. It was like funny, like doing the public transit over there, and people are looking at you because you've got your USA gear on, and they're excited that you're there. And actually, in the semifinal, coming off the home straightaway, Kyle Langford made this huge run to the front and was about to qualify for the final. And I remember thinking, like, man, I've got some work to do this final 100. I don't know if I have it in my legs, but here's my best shot. But Kyle makes that move, and the crowd was like eardrum piercingly loud. And there's very few times in my career where I can recall like having my attention ripped away from the race itself, but that was definitely one of them. It's just so loud and so cool. I had the dream of playing football my entire life growing up at a professional level. Obviously, it didn't work out that way, but that's how I imagine playing, like scoring a touchdown in an NFL game. It's just that loud, and just like as track and field athletes, we don't get a whole lot of opportunities to be environments like that. Like Portland Track Festival, pretty quiet atmosphere compared to what London had to offer. So yeah, that's definitely one of the coolest track and field moments in my life for sure, is racing in London.
When did you know that you wanted to be an elite athlete in track and field?
Probably like my freshman year in college. I wasn't even aware before I had gone to college that being a professional track and field athlete was even an option. I didn't understand that there were races outside of the Olympics every 4 years. The desire started probably my freshman year, and became a little bit more of reality my junior year when I ran my college PR. I ran 146.5. I was like, okay, this is like getting close to being at a level where I could sign a contract and go pro.
That's cool. What was your first experience in track and field?
So I used to play baseball. I played baseball from probably the time I was 5 until middle school, when I got cut from our baseball team. And one of my teachers at the time was a track coach, and said, well, just come out for the track team, try that. So ran the mile, I think. I don't remember what time I ran. They had me in everything. I was running the 100, as a middle schooler should be, just trying.
Sure.
Everything.
Yeah.
And that was in 7th grade. And then 8th grade, I tried out for the baseball team again, got cut again. I was like, well, that's the end of my baseball career, but I'm so devastated. Like, I don't want to mess around with track and field. Just going to mope, get ready for freshman football next year. But then my middle school teacher became the track and field coach my sophomore year of high school. And he just sort of had an eye. Well, if you know Brian Ollinger, he's a steeple chaser. So his cousin, Chad Ollinger, was my middle school teacher. Wow. And sort of had an eye for it, and was just like, this kid looks like he's built like a middle distance runner. So let's throw you into some 800s. And I think my first 800 ever was like 224. But I had knocked it down to, I think, 204 by the end of the year. So like anything else, just a big learning curve. But yeah, so, I found the 800 my sophomore year in high school, and I've made a few efforts in my career to move down and move up, but it never seems to go that well. And the 800 is just something that I know really well.
Where did you go to college?
Ashland University. It's a Division II school in Amish country. Ohio.
Oh yeah.
So moving from there to Seattle was quite the shock.
Oh yeah. Excuse me. Excuse me. Yeah, I lived in Pennsylvania for a while, right outside of Lancaster, and would walk my neighbor's cows back into the yard when they ate my apples. And it was beautiful trails, and just it was really kind of a nice area to live for a while. So
Yeah, no doubt.
So how Danny's been coaching you for how many years now? 5?
6.
6. Okay.
6 years. Yeah.
Describe your relationship with Danny, coach advisor, coach athlete. Kind of a combination. Is it evolved?
Yeah, it's definitely evolved. Danny's a very it's very science-based. I think a lot of my coaches in high school, like my coaches in high school and college, were very emotion-based.
Sure.
But I think by the time I had gone pro, I was looking for more of the like rational-based, science-based. Like I've got all the motivation in here already. I don't need somebody to motivate me anymore.
Yeah.
I want somebody who can lay the training plan out for me and help me execute the training plan and adjust along the way. And those are definitely Danny's strengths. But Danny and I are also both very pretty reserved guys. Like, for example, we drove to USA Championships in 2019 together in Des Moines.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, we're talking like a 30+ hour car drive. And we just
that's a road trip. Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't really talk that much during the entire time. So it's a pretty boring drive. But that's just how we operate. So there's definitely a learning curve my rookie year trying to figure out how we should communicate our ideas in the most effective way possible. And I'd had a decent year. My rookie year, I PR'd, which is hard to do for any rookie, I think. Just a lot of changes being thrown at you. So it went well. I made the semifinal at Olympic trials, ran terribly in the semifinal though. And then we had our end of year meeting at the end of the season. And he was kind of like asking me what I thought we should do. And I'm like, I came here for you, Danny. Like you're a huge part of the allure of this team to me. It was you being the coach. So I gave him a lot of power and control on creating the plan, and I put a lot of trust in him to make the training plan. So that would have been in 2017 and 18, where he was just like, just whatever he wrote down was what I was going to do. And it happened to coincide with a time in my career where Danny could have written anything down and I would have been able to do it physically. Just worked out that way. And obviously it resulted in a silver medal and 2 world teams. And then since then, it has been a lot more like at this point, like Danny and I could separate and I could write my own training plan and it would be pretty similar to whatever he would write for me for an entire year. So, it's since that I know where his mind is at all the time. If I feel like for example, after the Portland Track Festival race, Danny he just asked me, he's like, what do you think you need for a post-race workout? And if you watch that race back, like the first 4 and the first 6 were great, pretty as quick as I was as quick as I would need to go during any 800 in the US, and just fell apart a little bit the last 50 meters. So I I just wanted to work on some like gear changing and just trying to get out of, 27, 28 second 200 pace rhythm and going into 24, 25 second pace rhythm. So yeah, just a lot more bouncing ideas off of each other. And together we've been able to like the last 2.5, 3 years have been really difficult for me, training wise. And especially in the last year and a half, like we've found what's been working. And just like, we just keep amplifying those things that keep working. And, now it seems like everything's ramping up at the right time. So I think we've nailed it. And like I said, it'll just be about executing on those 3 days or 3 races over 4 days, in Eugene.
Yeah. Are you anticipating the Olympic trials? Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, I am. I'm not too nervous about it, yet. I certainly will get nervous at some point. But I remember in 17, I'd run like 145.0, and I was just running so well, and I was like, I need this here now so that I can take advantage of this fitness that I have.
Yeah.
Where this year it seems like, if anything, I wish it was another week or 2 away. But yeah, I just feel really calm. I just feel like the opportunity will be there for me to take advantage of, as long as I do everything I need to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So definitely looking forward to it.
During the pandemic, you and Danny talked every day, talk once a week. How did it work?
There's probably a few stretches where we didn't talk that often. The pandemic in some ways was like, it was a little nice to just be normal, which is a funny word to use during a pandemic.
Sure. Yeah.
But like, that was the first time where I didn't obsess over what I was eating or how much sleep I was getting, or like, should I drink this beer, or just things like that, and like, should I take my dogs on a hike? Like things like that. Like, it's just a no-brainer because there's no races going on. So like, why stress and obsess over all these things? So because of that, like, I just didn't really feel the need to communicate with Danny too often. Once we got those Portland races on the schedule, we started communicating a little more. If there was a small window where we weren't meeting and we knew those races were coming up. So I'd basically just text him on workout days, let him know how it went. And then we started meeting. So it would have been 3 or 4 times a week that I'd at least see Danny, not necessarily talking about training or anything like that, but I'd interact with him.
So I met your dogs at the meet.
Yeah.
Do you run with them?
If they're willing to. They're pretty stubborn sometimes about exercise. They have a very specific form of exercise that they like, and it usually doesn't involve being on a leash.
Okay. No, I get it. Yeah.
We'll get out for probably at least once a week. I'll go for a run with them. My girlfriend and I, we like Seattle, but we're looking forward to the day when we can get a little further outside of the city and have a little more room to wander with them. It's hard to have dogs off leash very often in a city as big and compact as Seattle.
Will you stay in the Northwest?
I love the Northwest. The big hang up is my family is still in the Midwest.
Oh yeah, man. I get it. I know. So, I moved to the Midwest and my family was out on the West Coast, and that was tough, because it's that quality of life you like or you miss. Maybe it's a small town or the bigger place, right?
Yeah.
and you want to be near your family.
Yeah. I've got, let's see here. I've got 6 nieces and nephews who are like, my brother just had a baby a month ago, that I haven't met yet. So like,
Oh,
you just like end up missing things like that. And every time I
it's
see
hard.
my oldest nephew, CJ, he's like 5 inches taller than the last time I saw him. He looks like just a completely different kid each time. So definitely looking forward to being back closer to them where I can see him more often. And then especially this year with the pandemic, like it was first time in my life I didn't celebrate Christmas with my family, just because I had to stay safer to stay here. So that's I could see myself coming back out to the Northwest at some point, but in the more short term, probably back to the Midwest.
Paris is in 2024. London's 2028. You get to see you around to Paris?
I think I can stretch it out till Paris.
What about London?
Or LA, you mean?
Yeah.
LA.
What about LA in 2028? Sorry.
Unless I can find some 335 type chops in these legs of mine over 1,500 meters, I'll be pretty old for the 800 by the time LA rolls around. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'll give it my best shot. And
sure.
I mean, regardless of contract stuff, I definitely want to run through 2024. And after that, I'll just have to have a conversation with myself and my family and people closest to me and decide what's the next best move. And certainly after 2024, if somebody wants to keep paying me to run, I will gladly continue to do so. This is one of the best jobs you can have, an opportunity a lot of people want and don't ever get. So I don't take that for granted at all. And I'll do this as long as my body allows me to.
That's cool. Do you ever see yourself coaching?
Yeah, I think about it. I think there's only a few jobs that I would really want and take in the coaching world. A few collegiate programs that I would want to coach at, and then I could see myself being involved in a more professional setting. I don't have a whole lot of interest in like coaching high school. I thought that was where I wanted to be when I was in college, but then I went to college, and I was like, oh, like a majority of the people here are motivated and want to be here to train, and that just makes your job a little more enjoyable as a coach. At least the type of coach that I'd want to be. So yeah, a few collegiate programs, and then if there is a professional opportunity, like you saw like Ritz this year transition from the roads to coaching. So if something like that was possible, I'd consider. But yeah, I don't really know what to do once all the running is over. So I'm sure I'll figure it out, but coaching's definitely an option for me.
Well, yeah, no, it's just that's the whole discovery thing. I mean, I think that some of the athletes that I've been close to, the biggest challenge for them is as they got near to the end of their career, it's like when to say, hey, this is the time. But also with the 800 especially, your experience puts you in a place where when you're on, you don't make dumb moves, and in that last 200, the last 200 is fascinating in the 800s, and it doesn't matter if it's indoors or outdoors. and it's just watching people go through the rounds. And Americans for such a long time didn't know how to run rounds, and which was very frustrating to watch because I go to all these European meets, and these little Italian, Spanish kids, man, were making it through, and I'm going, it's not as good as this guy. What is going on?
Yeah.
Does Danny give you advice before races, or does he kind of let you be?
We'll almost always have some sort of conversation about what the goal. I think the goal throughout the year of a specific race will change. Like the first one is usually just to get your feet wet and just so it's usually not so much about tactics or the plan, like an actual race plan, but it's just like, what do we want out of this? And then a debrief after, like, did we get what we wanted out of this, and what do we need to work on for the next one? But yeah, I mean, I think particularly with my style of racing, it's a much more reactive style than like an aggressive, like making all the moves in a race. So my plan is typically that there is no plan, and I just need to be ready for anything. But even then, like if we're using the World Indoor race as an example, we kind of were like looking at the people who made the final, and we're like, nobody's really going to take this out super hard. So like we need a plan. We're going to focus our planning on a very specific kind of race, being aware that could change very quickly. But like, we know that this would probably go out in like 53, 54 seconds through the quarter. And you just need to make sure you're in the right spot to take advantage of that.
All right, I'm going to give you 5 names of athletes. Yep. You're allowed 5 words to describe them. Okay?
Goodness.
Nick
5 words
Simmons.
apiece or
5 words apiece. 5 words apiece. Yeah. And I'm not going to, don't worry, I'm not going to taser you if you use more words. I'm just curious athletes' thought processes. And I started doing this. This is a pandemic thing. I started doing it in February of 20. And Mike liked it so much, and my son liked it so much, they said, got to do it. And it's really interesting what I just did Josh Kerr, and he goes, I hope I don't upset anybody. So it's fun, and we keep it like that. So David Rudisha.
GOAT. Smooth, poetry, elegance. Yeah, just those sort of words.
Nick Simmons.
Entertainer, the Bison, gamer, clutch.
Donovan Brazier.
Generational talent. I mean, he'll be the best American to ever do it, which is hard to say as somebody who needs to compete against him.
Sure. No. I get it.
Yeah. Extremely talented.
Bryce Hoppel.
Again, yeah. Extremely talented, new guy, fresh. Yeah, I've never actually raced him, so I'm looking forward to it.
Cool. Clayton Murphy.
Ohio guy. Aside from Brandon Kidder, he's my longest competitor.
Okay.
Yeah, just again, clutch.
Johnny Gray.
Twilight. Dwayne Solomon just pops into my mind because he coached.
Yeah, no, I love Dwayne. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, ballsy for sure.
Okay. New kid on the block, Hobbs Kessler. What do you, if you were giving if you're sitting down with him, you and Nick or, just chatting away with him. And he asked you for some advice. What advice would you give him?
It seems like he's having a lot of fun with it. And I think that needs to be his, especially as a high schooler, that needs to be his number one focus, is make sure he's having fun with it. And then my second piece of advice would be to just soak in everything you can from Nick Willis, because that guy has a formula for a long career.
Oh, yeah. I've watched him since 2003. And, it's just, and part of it is Ronnie, his coach, Warhurst, and the people. You talked about it a little bit, bringing good people around you. So much of it is people do not get that. If you don't have good people around you, I don't know how you make it,
Yeah, I mean, you met my parents at Portland Track, and I had my mom and dad fly into Seattle the week before because I had come back from altitude camp early, so I was the only one back in town. So I was like, yeah, you guys should just come. They were planning on going to the race anyway. I was like, just come now, and let's just hang out for a week. And just having them around just sort of melted the stress away. I wasn't just sitting there thinking about the race for a week. I was just hanging out with my parents. Everything felt like the good old days.
Sure.
So yeah, just surrounding yourself with a crew that you can really rely on, and that gives you peace, and that's super important.
I think having a girlfriend that knows what makes you tick too is probably pretty helpful in there too.
Yeah,
if she can bring her dogs to the meet, man, and that was my girlfriend was with me. We had dated in high school and hadn't seen each other for 38 years. And she's been to 3 track meets. 1976, she watched me run a 2-mile. I took her to the New Balance indoor in this one. And the night before, I had taken her to see steeples and the 10s, and she just looked at me and she goes, why can't we have some 800s and some 1500s? And I said, next day, you'll be able to see it. So she liked the 800s, Thank you so much, Drew. It's great seeing you, man. And it was just great seeing you run. And I look forward to seeing Eugene in a couple of weeks. And we're going to get this up probably in the next week and a half. I don't want Mike to kick my butt. What I always do is I'll say, hey, man, we'll have it up in 3 days. And then I get this, Larry, what did we talk about? So it's that whole thing telling you how he has to, manage me. But thank you again. This is Larry Eder with RunBlogRun, Socialing the Distance. We were with Drew Windle, the 2018 World Indoor Silver Medalist at 800 meters. We're going to see him in Eugene in 2 weeks. Great seeing you, and thank you for taking the time today.
Yeah, no,
my best to your family and your girlfriend and your dogs and your training partners, and and I'll harass Danny a little bit. I'm trying to get him back on before the trials, because I like to geek him out a little bit, and because he just, what Josh was just saying, he goes, Danny's a nerd, and that's the good, that gives you comfort, and you got good people around you, so enjoy it. But thanks again.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Hey, sports fans, Larry Eder, RunBlogRun, your favorite program, Socialing the Distance. And today, it's kind of really fun. We got to speak with the 2018 silver medalist at the World Indoor Champs in the 800 meters, USA's own Drew Windle from Ohio. He runs for the Brooks Beast. Great guy. A lot of fun. Last weekend when I was at the Twilight meet, the Portland, not Twilight, the Portland Track Festival. Yeah, I was sitting up in the stands. Not too many fans there. I mean, they just didn't have them. And this gentleman waved at me, and it was Drew's dad and his mom, and then his girlfriend Chantel and their 2 dogs. And Dad's a kind of a sports fan. Said he remembered our interview from 18, and we decided, you know what? Drew's looking pretty dang good out there. He just ran a 1:47.11. That's his best time since 18. Let's chat with him. So we did, and it went very, very, very well. What you find is a guy rather contemplative. He has been coached by Danny Mackey for almost 6 years. Early in their career, they spent 30 hours driving to lovely Des Moines for a U.S. championship, and that's got to be exciting with even the most talkative person. But those two guys are kind of like do parallel play, and so it should have been. It would have been a hoot to have a little recording of that. Drew's had some injury stuff. He's had to come back through that. He's got a great crew that he trains with. He's also battled the issues we've all had with the pandemic. It's been a challenge. I think for him, it helped him, gave him the time to recover. He sounds like, and he looks to me like he's in the best shape he's been in several years. In 17, he made the world championship team. In 18, he made the world championship team. He had some issues in 19, 20, and now 21. He's gone 400 days without having to take a day off that Danny didn't prescribe. Let's put it that way. What does it mean? It means he's in the thick of it. He's got some time. He's got to run faster each round. That's going to be part of it. He's going to have to pull a Nick Simmons. Does he have the wheels to do that? Yes. Does he have the savvy to get through the rounds? Yes. So, you got a veteran who's talking about being around till at least 2024. And if he can do a 335 or better and get a sponsor, he may stay on after that. So it'll be fun to see kind of where he goes. Winning a global medal is a big, big deal. You've got to be in the right place at the right time. You have to be fit at the right time. You have to be able to race at the right time. You have to have a hell of a lot of luck, too. It's all there. But putting all the good things together, doing the stuff the way where Coach Mackey, who I do believe is possessed by the scientific method, doing all the geeky and nerdy stuff that Danny does with the athletes, what it does is it gives them confidence. Danny's observed enough races, so he knows what Drew needs to do to make the team, to win a medal. It's a lot of hard work. And, you got to have easy days, you have to have hard days, but you also have to have the attitude. And I think that Danny does. So Danny does it well for Drew, and so it's that whole coach-athlete relationship that I've been jabbering on about. But we'll see Drew in action in a little less than 2 weeks at the Olympic trials in the 800 rounds. And really enjoyed speaking to Drew today. So, Drew, thank you. Mike Deering, thank you for managing the production of all this craziness. This is Larry Eder, RunBlogRun, Socialing Distance. We had Drew Windle, the 2018 silver medalist at 800 meters at the World Indoor Championships in Birmingham. Also a World Championship team member for London 2017. He's a member of the Brooks Beast Club, coached by Danny Mackey. Larry Eder says, signing off. But also, if you like us, please like us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. That tells our sponsors that you guys really love us. As Sally Field said, you really love us. And if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, it's a good thing. We have 2,500 plus videos and audios. We have 369 videos in last year, 2020 alone. And you got to see my beard grow during the year. Anyhow, stay safe. If you're outdoors, most of the time you don't have to wear a mask, but keep a mask in your pocket. If you go indoors, be cautious, get vaccinated, listen to doctors, not quacks. No one has all the answers, but staying safe is a big part of it, okay? So stay safe. Talk to you soon. Take care.